My name's Harry Bentley, and welcome to Inky. This is a prototype of a puzzle game that uses both voice commands and drawing, loosely inspired by the game Okami, if you ever played that one. Now, I'm just going to play through the game quickly to show you all the different interactions available. Controls. Back. Quit. No. Play. Go right. Go right. Hint. Go north. Electricity. Lightning. Ice. Water. Go down. Go south. Fire. Go north. Go east. Go to the tree. Water. Give me a hint. Grow. Down. Down. Help. Earth. Go up. Go right. So, if we have a look through the editor view to see how all this is going on, the main way of the player moving through the level is these waypoint nodes you can see here. Now, if I go into the prefabs and just toggle on the sprite renderer so you can see what's going on, that one, two. Each of these waypoints has connection nodes to the ones that the player can move from. So essentially we start off at this node, the start cave, and then if we tell the character to move right, it'll check these. Is there a node to the right? Yes. Crossroads, move to this one. Same for this, can move up, down or left back the way we came. Now you notice there's no node to the right. Now that's because this is not actually enabled until you've solved the puzzles. So the puzzles themselves, these are a set of all the same prefab with all of these Boolean switches. So electrified, conductive, in the case of these, so you can see this eel is electrified, and this is conductive, which means we can transfer the electricity from this object here to this one here. And when it's done, it spawns the relative particles from this list here. Once the puzzle's been solved, it's checked by these switch prefabs. They have a triggering object, so in this case the one they're attached to, and a requirement of electrified, chosen from this list. So is it electrified? Yes, no. And then these switches funnel into this door object, which has an array of switches it's connected to, so it's checking, are all of these true? Have you solved all of the attached puzzles? If so, take the waypoint that is your destination node, so central Kevin, this one over here, and put it on this waypoint here, the crossroads. So crossroads here, you can see it's currently blank because we can't move in that direction until the door has been opened, and then it will put this waypoint in the right value of this waypoint. The voice recognition from the game works through this speech recognition engine script. If we have a look at it briefly, it uses one of these two grammar files. So there's the menu grammar, which is used exclusively while the menu is present, and the game grammar, which is used while you're playing the game. That's to prevent overlaps between the two grammars and confusing certain options. If we look at the menu grammar briefly, it has all these options, play, help, quit, etc., each of which has a few different synonyms present. The game grammar is a bit more complicated, has movement options, the various abilities, and each of these, when the speech recognition engine identifies one, is handled through this update function. So depending on whether the menu is open or not, we can handle the separate actions such as moving, opening the menu, going to specific locations, and you notice in each case it's handled via the player script. So this is done through the player character controller. All of the variables from the speech recognition engine are passed to the character controller, which actually handles the movement. And in the case of the abilities, if we say lightning, fire, etc., it is set in this variable here from this enum list, which is then passed into the drawing controller, so this mouse input controller, which then creates prefabs from the drawing object list. Now you can see here at the first puzzle we've drawn the line from the eel to the generator. It's created these collision areas at the start and end, which you can see are these two waypoints respectively. It's collided with the lightning switch and the eel. It's checked that they can be connected using those Boolean tags, and it's transferred the element from one to the other. Now the second type of drawing interaction you can see here. This is based on drawing specific patterns that are predefined by the game. So in this case we have the grow pattern, which consists of a circle. Now you can see we haven't actually drawn a full circle here, we've not reconnected the start and end. And you can see down here in the log it says circle not matched, not closed. Now you can see here we've drawn the complete circle, the start and end points are within the threshold, it says circle matched. It's created the collision areas, which is again collided with the object underneath, and has set the specific value, so in this case grown. So you can see now we're at the earth puzzle, which has asked us to draw this square object. Now if we draw one, so you can see we've drawn this object here. It's got right angles, but it's not closed. Now each of these points, you can see it's created 5 points along the length. It takes this drawing object and all of these points every 5 in-game units, and then simplifies it first to these 5 points to check if it matches a shape, and then these 2 points to check if it's transferred something from the start to the end, like the previous drawing method. Now, depending on which element you've picked, there is a series of different check systems here. So we check whether it's a square, based on whether all the angles are approximately right angles, whether they're right angles from each other, and whether the start and end points are close, so if the shape is closed. The lightning here checks that we've drawn a lightning bolt pattern. And the wind is a swirl from right to left, and the grow is simply whether the shape is closed within the certain threshold. So if we look back in here, you can see we've got these 5 points. The angles are right angles, but you can see it's got to the final check whether it's closed and has failed there. You can see here we've drawn the square. Square has matched and it's created a collision area over the object down here, and it has applied the earth status to that object. Now from here we can essentially use any of these interactable object prefabs, the waypoints, the doors, to make any kind of other elemental based puzzle that we want. We can have objects which are frozen and growable. We can have objects which are can be blown by the wind, maybe you need to make water currents at some point. Maybe we need to propel a fan, that kind of thing. Essentially, this setup allows for any combination of these different elemental things. The only limiting factor is the actual design of the puzzles themselves, and obviously making the art for it. Thank you for watching.